Oh yeah, you heard me right. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Toast Hammer, where this week we're taking a look at my first faction, the first, in fact, Space Marines that I've painted since just about middle school. But these aren't the boys in blue you may have seen from back in the day. No, this time I'm assembling a team.
I'm putting together a special team, and I need me 8 soldiers.
Took a job looking for some men to join me. Is it difficult? Impossible.
It's gonna be deadly dangerous with a good chance of death.
That's why we'll need help.
Then we're gonna need a team.
What if I told you we were putting a team together? Who's we?
I'm putting together a team. People with special abilities.
That's right, we're talking about the Deathwatch kill team. Specifically, that's what the entire game was named after, a Deathwatch kill team, and they still don't have their own rules in the game yet. But they have a pretty cool compendium kit, and we're going to be building the Deathwatch veterans from that. However, it's Toast Hammer. We're not just going to build a box of Deathwatch veterans. No, we're going to make them Primaris-scale. So with this conversion in mind, we'll be putting together our Deathwatch veterans, do some Primaris bodies, and for this particular kit bash I've chosen the Assault Intercessors for the more dynamic and open posing, and they have those good old-fashioned Aquillas on the chest, which I like more than the sort of like tactical Phobos armor patterns that some of the other kits have. So we're going classic, but also with a little bit of sprinkling of new and getting that nice size upgrade as well. So let's get right into it. Now, this conversion was actually quite simple. Most of it amounted to basically putting together the Assault Intercessor bodies, backpacks, and legs, and then attaching some of the Deathwatch veteran arms. And hey, that's, yeah, you got yourself a kill team. There were a couple of small alterations I need to do, like changing the Power Maul into a Thunder Hammer, which wasn't in the Deathwatch veterans kit, as well as purloining a plasma pistol for the Sergeant, which also was kind of mysteriously missing from the Deathwatch veterans, but both of which are legal equipment options in the kill team. So to make that Thunder Hammer, we just cut off the tip of a Power Maul, cut off the tip of a Thunder Hammer, and squish them together using a pin and a little bit of wire to make them hold steady. Everything else was relatively straightforward. Marine parts go together surprisingly well, and there was, you know, the arms might look like a little bit short compared to normal Primaris arms, but it's actually really hard to tell that there even is a change in the arm size when you're just looking at the model. So hey, I'm going to call that a win. The next major decision point came from the helmets, of which I decided to mostly use Firstborn helmets, because this is technically supposed to be a mostly Firstborn squad. We're just upgrading their size, like you might have seen in the new like Sternguard Veterans kit, where even though they've been kind of Primarisified, some of them still have older marks of armor in their helmets and shoulder pads and things like that. There was one Primaris though, because well, I just thought it would be neat. And the other major decision point was which shoulder pads to use. Of course, you have to have the Deathwatch proper shoulder pad on the left, but on the right side of the Deathwatch Marines, they have their original chapters shoulder pads. So for this particular group of individuals, I went with Iron Fists, Iron Hands, Salamanders, Minotaurs, Blood Angels, Ultramarines, and also one other guy who doesn't have an insignia. I kind of learned about this when I was researching Deathwatch kill teams, that there are some members of the Deathwatch who do not carry their chapter's insignia, usually for redacted or mysterious reasons, and I thought it would be very cool to add a little bit more converting onto this otherwise normal trooper. Seeing that his shoulder pad was battle damage and had some chains wrapped around it, I did decide to add some battle damage to him as well, using my little pen vise and an X-Acto blade to cut out some scratches and dents and pockmarks where bullets may have come flying in from. And then wrapping chains around those sort of damaged areas in similarity to his shoulder pad to kind of tie the whole look together. So even though he was without chapter, he still was a mega cool looking dude. But hey, that was a really easy conversion, so we're not going to stop there. We're going to paint these guys up too. So we're going to prime them black and get them back on the painting bench. Now, black armor is a new thing for me to tackle on this channel, so first let's take us through all of the base coats required. I used a chrome metal finish on the heraldry, which is like the shoulder pads and the insignias, the aquillas, anything sort of ornamental, as I used the chrome Vallejo metal color, and then I followed that up with a normal gunmetal for the more functional parts, the gun barrels, metallic gun bits, the backpacks, and things of that nature. Bronze for some ammo casings here and there, and of course the shoulder pad colors, which we'll get to in a bit. And after that, a bit of red. We're going classic for these weapons. Love a red bolt gun, love a red weapon casing on Space Marines. So slap a bit of red on there, and our base coating is pretty much done. All we had to do was address the battle damage on our dude, which you'll notice I did not actually paint in a metallic color because, well, ceramite isn't metal. It's a ceramic. It's not a metallic thing. Unpainted ceramite has been described as gray many times before. I don't know if that's supposed to be a nod at the unpainted plastic models, but I decided to actually just paint these portions of battle damage in gray themselves to kind of represent this non-metallic damage and to separate it from a lot of the silver that we were already seeing on this model. Finally, you just have to cover the shoulder pads in their requisite colors. I tried to be kind of as accurate as possible, with the exception of Ultramarines, who I decided to go old school with a bold blue followed by their gold. Did not go full old school with the yellow because I do think the gold kind of looks nice there, but I did want to do that classic ultramarine blue instead of the more teal look that some of their newer paint jobs have displayed. With all of the base coating done, let's try and highlight up some of this armor so it's not just a mass of blackness. We're going to be doing some very simple volumetric highlights here with a scarcity of edge highlights in those areas that are very likely to pick up the light, starting with sort of a German brown gray, which is kind of a purple. I don't know. It seems purple to me, but like a very dark, very kind of off black color. And then a little bit of that mixed with gray to just pick out the edges and the brightest spots on the armor. We're kind of being minimalistic here and only picking out those parts that are displaying fully in the light or that would catch a natural top-down light source. Now, I was pretty new at doing this technique, especially having not painted Space Marines in probably, I don't know, 20 plus years. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and I think some parts of it turned out pretty well, and some parts of it turned out just kind of okay. But hey, you let me know in the comments how I did. I decided to pick out the kind of webbing in between of the armor panels with that dark off-black color, and then highlighting it with the mix as well, more gratuitously, to kind of separate that tone from the black armor plates, and then just a bit of a brighter red on the upward-facing parts of the guns as well. And with that, we're kind of virtually done with our Marines. A little bit of detail on the faces and a little bit of OSL to tie the whole thing together. Now, to do this, I wanted to do the classic green on the plasma weapons and carry that over to the power weapons as well, even though it's non-traditional. I thought it would kind of blend together well with the sergeant's sort of xeno-phase blade, which I came up with a pretty neat technique for that I thought came out pretty awesome. And that is just to take some fluorescent green paint it all over the model, and then quickly rub away the excess with a sponge to get it just settled in the recesses. I did a couple of coats for a stronger effect in the recesses, and just a very, very faint green tinge on the rest of the weapon over a black base coat. I thought it looked very sufficiently sort of Blackstone-esque. And for the rest of the power weapons, well, I've already done a tutorial on how I handle my power weapons, so go check that out. For the plasma itself, I did want to try hard it a little bit, so I started with a base coat of bold titanium white, followed by my fluorescent green paint, and that's usually where I would call it quits. This time, though, I decided to take it a couple of steps further by continuing up the gradient by mixing normal green paint into the fluorescent green to get a slightly darker, slightly more subtle hue, and then finally, just along the top and most distant edges from that light source, that pure darker green color, to just kill off the fluorescent effect and really demonstrate a nice smooth gradient throughout the plasma effect. Now we just get those parts that are being reflected by our light sources highlighted up with that fluorescent green color, and our kill team is essentially ready to go. But there's one problem. I just don't know how I want to base these guys. So I haven't done that yet. And let me know if you have any suggestions in the comments. What do you think would be a cool looking base for this squad of Space Marines? But without further ado, let's check them out. I hope very much you've enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the build process and the paint process, let me know how I did, because this is my first time painting Space Marines, and I genuinely don't know how to do it. But if you have enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like. It helps the video out a lot. If you want to see some more kit bashes and some more painting tips, make sure you stay subscribed so you don't miss a single video. And while you're at it, hit up the Toast Hammer Discord. We're all trying to make each other be better hobbyists and keep each other honest. And until next time, peace.